Welcome back to Transcriber from Reddit. Today's topic comes from the subreddit 2XChromosomes, posted by user John Sith. The post is a linked post titled Germany to Classify Date Rape Drugs as Weapons to Ensure Justice for Survivors. This is a link to The Guardian, taking their article from Germany. At the top of their article, they showcase 3 lawmakers holding books that showcase survivors on the covers. The title of the article reads, Germany to Classify Date Rape Drugs as Weapons to Ensure Justice for Survivors. Classification plan will create basis for, quote, significantly stricter, end quote, prosecutions, says Interior Minister. This was originally posted Friday, November 21st, 2025 at 9:50 EST. I begin reading the article. Germany plans to treat the use of date rape drugs like the use of weapons in prosecutions as part of measures to ensure justice for survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault. Quote, we classify date rape drugs, which are increasingly used as a widespread tool in crimes, as weapons. This creates the basis for significantly stricter prosecutions, end quote. Alexander Dobrindt, the Interior Minister, said on Friday. Quote, we are committed to clear consequences and consistent enforcement. Women should feel safe and be able to move freely everywhere, end quote. Nearly 54,000 women and girls were the victims of sexual offenses in Germany in 2024, an increase of 2.1% on the previous year, of which nearly 36% were victims of rape and sexual assault. A parliamentary debate over a bill calling for a mandatory minimum 5-year prison sentence for the use of date rape drugs and sexual assaults was postponed last month. Police last year registered a record high of almost 266,000 domestic violence victims, a 3.8% increase on the previous year. However, there were a high number of unreported cases. The head of the Federal Criminal Police Office, Holger Munch, said. Side note, I apologize if I butchered Holger's last name. Quote, we must work to ensure that more victims find the courage to report crimes in order to improve the protection and support for crimes, end quote, he added. Although there is no uniform federal definition for femicide in Germany, nearly 1,200 women and girls were recorded as victims of homicide or attempted homicide in 2024, a slight decrease year on year. The German government this week approved a draft law allowing the use of electronic ankle monitors to track perpetrators of domestic violence. Victims can also request a separate device to warn them when the perpetrator is nearby. Dobrindt said the government had also secured funding for the national rollout of an app allowing domestic abuse victims to secretly document abuse incidents to be used later in court. Below that, we have, next to a red dot and in italics, news on the UK. As of when this was written, it says, in the UK, Rape Crisis, linked here, offers support on 0808 500 2222 in England and Wales, 0808 801 0302 in Scotland, or 0800 0246 991 in Northern Ireland. In the US, RAIN offers support on 800 656 4673. In Australia, support is available at 1-800-RESPECT, parentheses, 1-800-737-732, end parentheses. Other international helplines can be found at ibiblio.org/rcip/internal.html. Here ends the article. My hope is that this goes through and that other countries adopt this similar mentality. Women are disproportionately affected by date rape drugs. And even when men are affected, they find themselves being dismissed, much like women are, when they bring up the circumstances of finding out that their drink wasn't what they thought it was, didn't contain what they thought it was. By classifying date rape drugs as weapons, Hopefully this forces not just Germany's law enforcement and politicians, but other countries and their law enforcement to reconsider the consequences and severity of date rape drugs and to adopt similar policies. Thank you for watching/listening, and I will see you in the next video.